Okay. All right, so we are discussing Atomic Habits, and tonight we are just starting our new series, which is Atomic Habits, and we're going to discuss chapters 1. The lighting is a little bright. There we go. Chapters 1 and 2. So if by any chance you have not picked up your book yet, in the most recent email that I sent out, you actually have a link in the email from today reminding you about our session today, and it has the link for the book. So if you have not bought it, buy it. And we're about to dig in. So, as I was saying before I hit record, so I'm reading this book and I'm like, you know what? We have to do this. This is a book that it goes beyond helping you just acquire the type of finances that you want. It goes beyond that. This is a whole life book, right? And ever since I picked this book up and I started reading it, now I get all of these Google alerts about all things Atomic Habits. And it's so interesting because I'll get things like how to help kids achieve atomic habits in the classroom, like all kinds of stuff. And we're not talking about college students, we're talking about kids, like young kids. And so this book is transformative. So we are going to dig in to chapter 1 and 2. So first things first, before I start really talking about all the things, I'd love to know, Jamelia, okay, what you felt was like one of your biggest takeaways. Like, what has impressed you so far? And we're only in chapters 1 and 2. What is it that has stuck out with you so far? Because your reaction was like, oh my God, this book. So what is it that has stuck out to you so far and you're excited to keep going with this book in the first 2 chapters?
So first is the fact that the intro, how he told his story of getting like smashed in the face. Sorry, spoiler alert. hopefully you have read this. When he got hit in the face, and then the process to, is it really loud?
You're good.
Okay. His process of recovering, and how that 1%, like the small things, I'm not going to say that we don't think matter, but how that matters. And so as I was reading this, I also thought about the slight edge and how, so like just seeing similarities, but I didn't highlight it because I was in the car, but there was a part in the book, I hope I can find it. There was like this paragraph and I'm like, you're speaking to me, but so I'll generalize until I can find the part that I'm talking about. But how he talks about when we're trying to make changes, the way that we need to approach them, like weight loss, so there's weight loss, like you said, finances, and so our approach, how that can make all the difference, right? If we don't work, he gave the example of the layers. So like if you don't get to changing your identity and doing the things, changing 1%, whether you're going to the gym, eating healthier, making changing those habits, and how this was a big one too. And I think you spoke about this. And so you ever reading something and hear like your coach's voice, and I'm like, coach said this, how it's not just about changing your habits, it's your systems. And he talked about it's not you may be failing because of your systems. And so I just thought about how I've started like different things. Even recently I started weight loss journey, and I'm like, okay, no, I need to get back to the person who enjoyed to eat healthy and have other things and exercise, and not be the person who wants to be on the diet, because almost like 3 days in I was like, I should stop doing this. Oh, sorry.
It's like, this ain't gonna work.
this is it felt restrictive. And so after reading, that first chapter and how he talked about you really need to look at changing, but what you need to change and how the systems will help. So that stood out to me until I can find that paragraph. That was like a huge takeaway. But there's so much juiciness in the first 2 chapters. I'm like, oh,
there is. And that's really the crazy part. The book just starts, and even with it just starting, it's just like, this is really, really good. But I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. Okay, so how winning, achieving a goal is only momentary change. Like, so like if you hit a goal, like then that's it. But if you change your system, or how he gave the example about someone who was quitting smoking, and they're like, oh no, I'm trying to quit, right? So that person still identifies as being a smoker, and then the other person says, no, I'm no longer a smoker. So like how having that identity change, and it just made me think of paradigm like it just, it's like as I'm reading, my brain is just like but
Yes.
in a good way.
Yes. That is so good. That is so good. Okay. I keep interrupting you because I'm excited, but keep going. What else was there? Was there anything else? I don't want to, I got excited.
No. You can go because I want to find that it's this paragraph where I was just like, oh, compound. There's just so much to me. There's just so much. But and this diagram is on page 16. The 1% better every day. How the small habits, reading the book, but not just reading the book. I'm a reader. Like the connection with the habit or the goal and your identity, how those things are so important. And then if you do something that is not, or a negative, like how that will bring you closer or further away from maybe something that you don't want. So just not dismissing the small changes, like almost like we need to celebrate those things and how it can make all the difference. And so I'm just like, dang, I just want to keep reading because this is good. Compounding. I'm like, damn, it's like all the mentors is talking. Randy here, Randy want to compound, like everything it's just coming together. So
That's so good. And that, it's this book, the subtitle. So the primary title is Atomic Habits, right? And then we have Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, which is basically what you're saying. Then he has another subtitle that says An Easy and Proven Way to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones. And so I found the book to be profound, even in the first chapter. So I'm not even going to go through the introduction. But when you were talking about how, as a young kid, he played baseball. Okay, so the author, James Clear, he played baseball. He always wanted to go to the major leagues. Well, one day he got hit in the face with a baseball and he didn't realize all the damage that was done to his face. So while they're walking back, to the school from the baseball field, he literally had to get helicopter lifted to the hospital. The damage was that severe and he had no idea that it was that severe as a kid. And so he had to learn everything all over again in terms of how to actually be effective at baseball the way he was before. And he was able to get to a point, so he didn't go to the major leagues, but being able to achieve playing at a high level in college, being the captain, all those things. And it was those atomic habits that got him there. So he ends the introduction part of the ending says, human behavior is always changing, situation to situation, moment to moment, second to second. But this book is about what doesn't change. It's about the fundamentals of human behavior. Then we go into chapter 1. So when he goes into chapter 1, that's when he starts to talk about the British cycling team back in 2003. And this was profound. Now, since that time, they have found, and there's a website that you can go to that he shares with you in the, in the footnotes of the book. On page 18 in the footnotes, he tells you where you can actually get an update on that story, because they did find that some of the cyclists were using performance enhancing drugs. So he did want to make sure he clarified part of that, but it doesn't take away what they were able to do. Not everybody was, right? But what they did, the coaching team did. And it was that idea of what he calls the aggregation of marginal gains. Really fancy phrase for what it means is we just change little things, all these little things bit by bit. So we change things like the helmets that the cyclists wore. We change things like, actually, I'm just gonna find it right here because It was just good. Okay, so it says that the whole principle, which is the aggregation of marginal gains, it comes from the idea that if you broke down everything you could think of that goes into riding a bike and then improve it by 1%, you'll get a significant increase when you put them all together, right? So the coaches started making these small adjustments. So they did things that you could expect, and then they did other things. So they redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable. They did use rubbing alcohol on the tires so they can get a better grip. They asked the riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal body temperature while riding. It used biofeedback sensors to monitor how the athletes responded to particular workouts. They tested various fabrics in a wind tunnel. They had their outdoor riders switch to indoor racing suits, which proved to be lighter. Like all these things, they kept going. It says, but they didn't stop there. Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvement. So they tested different types of massage gels to use on them that aided in the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach the riders the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chances of catching a cold. Like they looked at all kinds of things. So if I looked at that like in my daily life, what would that look at if I could break down everything to 1%? To make me a better entrepreneur, what would that be? That would be when I get up in the morning, making sure, I don't even know, like it's breaking down everything. Okay, so making sure that my desk area, my computer is situated exactly at the perfect angle when I get down here, and my keyboard is sitting in the right spot, my mouse is in the right spot, the lighting is perfect to make it easy for me, as easy as possible for me to see everything on the screen without squinting, make sure everything is 100% clean, everything that I need to use for work is actually in the right spot, making sure that I am utilizing the most productive time of the day. So even if that's 30 minutes sooner than being in front of my work, 30 minutes, like it's all the things, like little things, making sure I'm hydrated, but not hydrated too much. Then maybe I have to go to the bathroom while I'm working, like all kinds of things that you wouldn't even think about. They did all those things. So it's literally breaking everything down. And his point was small changes make a significant difference. He says that the difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. And it is key that it takes you back to the book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, when he uses the idea of the penny compounded over time, 30 days. Someone will say, listen, would you like to take $1 million now? Or would you like to just take a penny and see what happens 30 days from now? And then you find out that it's like $6 million or something if you double it every day for 30 days. It's like, wait, what? How in the world? I think it's like over 6 million versus 1 million if I just gave you 1 million today. So little things, little changes, tiny improvements can have these astounding results. He says, here's how the math works out. This is what you're talking about. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Okay. So of course, you actually mentioned this. So you know, I had to bring this bad boy up. Hold on, let me see if I can get it to pop up on my computer because it's moving really slow. There it is. Okay. So here is what he talked about, right? This is the 1% change every day, right? This axis, the y-axis, but you didn't think we need that this time in our lives, y-axis versus the x-axis. On the y-axis, for those of you who remember your geometry and algebra, okay, or vertical axis, we got results. Horizontal axis, or x is what we call it in our mathematics, is time. And so his point is that a 1% improvement over time, okay, over time, over 1 year, we're using like a year, for example, 1% improvement, look at the exponential growth that happens over time, but look at the decline that also happens over time. And so, and this is what's interesting. I know we're going to touch on this in a little bit because he talks about this. What I find really interesting is this part. Hold on, undo, that's not what I want. I want to write something on here and I always forget how to find it. Right here. The part that I find really interesting is this part right here. This right in here, okay? It is that circle that I find interesting, okay? This part right here, I'm trying to color on it, but it's really difficult with a mouse. It's this part right here, this, okay? Where it looks like nothing actually happens, right? This, it looks like it's still on a line. Looks like there's nothing happening right there. It looks like nothing is happening. This 1% improvement, this is really interesting because this is where frustration can set in if we're not careful. This right here, the 1% improvement, you see that? Just the 1%, just slowly 1%. It looks like nothing is happening. And this is where we can get frustrated. And this right here is where we can give up way too early. That's what makes the concept of the tiny changes in Atomic Habits so powerful, because when you're making them, they look so insignificant. So insignificant. What does cleaning my desk every evening before I go to bed so I can start my day with a fresh, clean desk, what difference does it make? That one little tiny habit, it doesn't seem like it makes a big deal at all until I do it every day for 365 days. So this is like the first week, 2 month. I don't even know the time frame, but this is where it seems so insignificant, like it's not making a difference. But I don't realize that what's happening is over time, it's saving me so much more time and it's freeing up mental energy that I can use for more creative endeavors, like better programs, serving you guys even better. Look at that. And then before I know it, I start to see the exponential growth because it affects other areas of business. That's what's so amazing to me about this 1% daily change. It looks so insignificant. That's what's amazing in the beginning. And you just give up in the beginning. It's like changing your lunch to a salad. And instead of using Caesar or ranch dressing, you make an oil and vinegar vinaigrette, a homemade one with some seasoning. And you think this is not making a difference because you get on a scale in a week and it's the same. You change that one meal. You get on a scale and everything else pretty much stayed the same. So you didn't add calories, you literally took them away. And let's just say you decided after dinner, you're going to go walk in the neighborhood for 30 minutes. Nothing big, just walk in the neighborhood. You're not even pushing yourself. You're just having a little walk, right? And so it seems so insignificant because the first week you don't lose a pound. The second week you lose nothing. The third week it's like, oh, I finally, oh my God, the scale says it's like a half a pound less than it was 3 weeks ago when I started. And so it seems like it's no big deal. And then all of a sudden, over a year's time, can you imagine if you go from eating, I don't know, a quarter pound of a cheese meal from McDonald's with a large fry, because their fries are addictive, and a large drink. So 1,000 calories for lunch, down to a 300 calorie salad, and you walk after dinner every day. Can you imagine? You just saved from 1,000 down to 300 calories. Do you realize that is 700 calories just for the day? And when we multiply that times 365 days, the number is astronomical. So it's over time. So we just can't get stuck here. And that's the biggest thing. So I love that chart that we're looking at, you guys. That is on page 16. Okay, is that 16? Yeah, 16. And this improvement equates to 37.78% over the course of the year. That's what your improvement would be. This decline equates to, what is that, 0.3%? No, that's not percent. My apologies. That's 37 times better after 1 year. Not necessarily 37%, but I like this. I think it is percent. Yeah, I take that back. It is. So 37 times better versus this decline. That's a big deal. And that's on page 18. Okay. So he wants us to understand that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And I want you to take the term self-improvement and I want you to put whatever you want to put in that space. Habits are the compound interest of financial freedom. Habits are the, what are you looking for? Habits are the compound interest of a successful business. Habits are the compound interest of a healthy life. Habits are the compound interest of a better relationship with my spouse. Habits are the compound interest of a better relationship with my children. You can put whatever you want to put in that space. He says habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. You can put anything there. Habits are the compound interest of what? Think about what you want in that space, right? Financial freedom, successful business, great relationship with spouse, better networking, just better relationships all around, more community. Habits are what cause those things to happen. He says, unfortunately, the slow pace of transformation makes it easy to let a bad habit slide. If you eat an unhealthy meal today, the scale does not move much. What does that sound like? That sounds exactly like the slight edge. It's like, it doesn't matter today, right? Okay. If you work late tonight and ignore your family, they'll forgive you. If you procrastinate and put your project off until tomorrow, there will usually be time to finish it later. A single decision is easy to dismiss, but when we repeat it, 1% errors day after day by replicating poor decisions, duplicating tiny mistakes, and rationalizing little excuses, our small choices compound into toxic results. It's the accumulation of many missteps, a 1% decline here and a 1% decline there that eventually leads to a problem. Okay. So it's important to understand that success is the product of daily habits. We look at people and we think that, oh my God, they are killing the game and they're just amazing at what they do, not understanding that it's their habits that make them successful. Now, yes, there are anomalies out there, people that you can't put on a graph or a chart because they just may have blow up success, but that's not the overwhelming majority of people. That's a minute amount of people, very small amount. For the majority, vast majority, we're talking high majority, it is the habits that they create that get them the success that they want, that on the outside we look at and we wonder, oh my God, how did they get there, right? So with that said, this is so important. You guys, this is so important. I almost feel like I need to tape it someplace and I need to preach this thing. He says, so with that said, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. Let that resonate. It doesn't matter how successful you are or how unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether or not your habits are putting you on the path to success. Woo! Y'all, this is so good. It's amazing. Okay. So think about that. I need you to tell yourself right now, it doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful I am right now. Like physically tell yourself that. It doesn't matter how successful I am or am not right now. What matters is whether my habits are putting me on the path towards success. Okay. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than your current results. That should free you. You should be more concerned with your trajectory, not your current results. That should be liberating, y'all. That should be freeing. Okay, because that means that if you are not in the place where you want to be, that you can change it and you can get on the path to what you're looking for. Remember, Earl Nightingale defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. What that means, progressive realization, means I know what I think success is. Like, this is how I define success. I define success as blank. And that means I love using the example of a housewife, because to some people, they're like, I could never be satisfied just being a housewife. But the woman that decides that's what she wants to do, if that is what she is working towards, she is working towards success, right? If you say, I want to build a Fortune 500 company, if you are working towards that goal, then guess what? You are working towards your success. It's not a matter of whether or not you are a Fortune 500 CEO today. Are you working towards that? If you are working towards that, so you can't get concerned with, I'm not where I want to be today. Are you on the right trajectory? If you say, I want to be able to have 7 figures liquid, right, in terms of my net worth, that means I want to be worth over $1 million and I want it liquid, I want to be able to move it. I don't want it tied up in hard assets where I can't get it out. Liquid means I can move it if I want to. I can get access to it quickly. So it's not like I got $1 million worth of real estate and the only way I can get money from it is I have to sell it, and I don't want to do that. Liquid means I can move it around. I have access to move it quickly, right? So if you say I want to be worth 7 figures liquid, right? You cannot get discouraged because you're not worth that amount today. What you have to understand is, are you taking steps for that type of success? So are you actually putting money aside? For example, he says that if you're a millionaire, but you spend more than you earn each month, then you're on a bad trajectory. If your spending habits don't change, it's not going to end up well. Conversely, if you are broke, but you save a little bit every month, then you're on the path toward financial freedom, even if you're moving slower than you'd like. Y'all, that's powerful, because a lot of us get frustrated because things don't move as quickly as we would want them to move, right? Let me tell you why it's so important to understand. Sometimes things may not move as quickly, but you still want to move forward. So with my husband having to have so many hospital visits and doctor's visits and chemotherapy right now. And y'all, we spend so much time in the doctor's office right now. It's just ridiculous, right? And imagine if I worked a traditional job, I wouldn't be able to be there with him like that, or for him, or for the family. And so I'm so grateful that now 9 years ago that I decided to become an entrepreneur and walk away from corporate America, because those 9 years actually positioned me to be available now when I need to be more available for my family. Okay. So it was a path, a trajectory that I put myself on that I didn't even realize I was going to need to be in this position. Okay. And so it's really important to understand it's not about where you are today. Because if you had asked me then, I'd be like, oh my God, we're nowhere near where I want to be. Just nowhere near where I want to be. But today I can say, oh my God, we're still not where I want to be. But guess what? Once again, we are on that path, and we move farther down that path every single day and every single year. Okay. So it's not about where you are. Are you on the right trajectory? Time. Oh my God, time magnifies the margin between success and failure. The one thing I've always told people, okay, when people come to me, especially in the network marketing space, and they get frustrated because their business is not going really well, I said, the reality is time. And it's not just time. I say that network marketing, okay, it will expose you or it will promote you. Okay. What do I mean by that? Network marketing, you'll look at people who have fast success. They get started and they have success really, really quick. And you're like, what the heck? I'm doing all the stuff they said they did and it's not even working for me. Network marketing will expose you or it will promote you. When I say expose you, what I mean is this: if you have been terrible at building relationships and nurturing relationships because you never really thought about it up until that point, it will expose that. It will expose if you don't have a really good work ethic. If you think you work hard every day, but you just do busy work, but you don't do income producing activities, it will expose that, right? It'll expose things that you didn't realize. Like, it'll expose that you care a lot about what people think if it's hard for you to move forward and make phone calls, right? So it'll expose things. But guess what it'll also do? The opposite. It will promote you. So if you've done a really good job of building and nurturing relationships with people, it will promote you. And in a lot of cases, it will promote you very quickly, right? If you have a past, some experience in sales, and you understand how to close people, it's going to promote you, right? It'll promote you quickly. If you are a likable person with a likable personality, bam, it will promote you. If you got a consistent work ethic, bam, it will promote you. So it will expose or promote. But guess what happens? To the person who does not have fast success, guess what equalizes the playing field? Time. It's the great equalizer. Time. So the person who does not have quick success can still have the same success as the person who moved faster over time. And so he says that time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Y'all, that's good stuff. Good habits. Okay. Great example. Health is always such a good one. I remember one day having a conversation with my husband. I was like, babe, we eat terribly. So trying to adjust the way we eat in the house, and it's a fight. It's truly a battle. And I remember him like saying to me, Demetra, I've eaten like this my whole life. And I was like, so what? That doesn't make it right. Well, one of the things that we found out was his blood sugar was incredibly high. Like it was insanely high when he went to the hospital for other symptoms of other things. And so we had to make drastic adjustments to the way we eat. When my mentor said that diabetes does not run in your family, recipes do, I almost flatlined that day. Literally flatlined, because I was like, your girl is absolutely right. It's not, because type 2 diabetes that runs in my family is 100% preventable. The challenge is changing the way we eat at the table. So time became an enemy with all of the bad eating habits that we had, with the heaping, like helpings of fried chicken, right? The heaping helpings of homemade peach cobbler were shortening in the crust to make it flakier, like all the things. The homemade biscuits, not that you can't have one, but do you really need to have like 4? Like really? Like why do you need to have like a stack of pancakes? What's wrong with 2? Like why you need 6? And with those 6, you're about to have 6 slices of bacon, and you're gonna have all the syrup with it. Like there's not a vegetable on your plate. So it's not the diabetes that runs in my family, it's the recipes. It was literally me saying, I don't even know what you cook for breakfast if you're not making biscuits, pancakes, sausage, bacon. Like what do you cook? Like what do people eat that's even remotely healthy? Because time became our enemy. Now imagine, had we been raised in a family that understood healthy eating habits, they understood things like, oh, how about you have some eggs with avocado on the side, right? Or you have some eggs that are packed with vegetables. Oh, instead of eating rice, how about we have quinoa, right? Oh, instead of having pasta, how about we have zucchini pasta, or zoodles as they're called, zucchini noodles. Oh, instead of, smothering my ribs that are already not healthy in a bunch of super sweet barbecue sauce, oh, why don't we have something completely different? So the centerpiece of our dinner isn't meat, but it's actually a vegetable instead. Now imagine what that family has happened to that family. Time has become their ally when it came to healthy eating. See the difference? So time will either be your ally or it will either be your enemy, but it will absolutely magnify the margin between success and failure. Okay. So with that said, what does progress really look like? When we think about time, what does progress look like? He gives such a great example on page 20. He says, now imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table. This is so good, you guys. Because see, what we're talking about when it comes to habits, atomic habits, I want you to understand, we're talking about practices that you can put in place, but it's really shifting your mindset. And so it's shifting how you think and therefore how you actually behave. That's what this is all about. How do you think? And when you can think different, now you can actually behave and react differently. So he says, imagine that you have an ice cube sitting on the table in front of you. The room is cold and you can actually see your breath. It's currently 25 degrees. And ever so slowly, the heat, the room begins to heat up. So we go from 25 degrees to 26 degrees. Okay. Then we go from 26 degrees to 27 degrees. Then from 27 degrees to 28 degrees, from 28 degrees to 29 degrees, right? And the whole time that we're doing this, that ice cube is still sitting in front of us on the table. We can still see our breath, even though the temperature is raising 1 degree at a time. Nothing is happening with that ice cube. So now we've gone from 29 degrees to 30 degrees, and we're still looking at the ice cube. We can still see our breath. Now we've gone from 30 degrees to 31 degrees, and nothing's happened. Nothing. Then all of a sudden, at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. All of a sudden, it seems like it was just all of a sudden that it just started melting at 32 degrees. You do realize that that's how people look at successful people, right? We look at successful people and we're like, oh my God, all of a sudden they just blew up. Oh my God. There's this young lady on ESPN. You guys probably don't watch ESPN, but Wayne watches it every day. So I'll be sitting there with him watching it literally every morning. And her name is Monica. I don't know her last name. I just started seeing her on ESPN probably a couple of months ago. And I remember telling Wayne, I like her. When I first saw her, I was like, I like her. She is not model-esque looking, because if you pay attention to a lot of media, even news outlets, right? When you get to national news media, a lot of people are just stunningly beautiful. Like, they're just stunning. And it's even the case on ESPN. A lot of the women are beautiful. She is beautiful, but she's like beautiful, but not like this model-esque beautiful that makes her look even better. She's like normal, but gorgeous at the same time. It's weird to really explain. She has a voice that has like, it's like a deeper husky voice. It's not a high pitched voice. It's like a deeper husky voice. I love her voice. And I was like, wow, unlike a lot of women on ESPN, she doesn't have weave. She doesn't have shoulder length hair. She got a short haircut. Like, her hair is short. Most women that you'll find on ESPN have long hair, right? It's not the case. So she got a super short cut. Okay. She's a normal, but really beautiful person with a real laid back personality. Her personality seems so cool. And I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I like her. Like, I really like her. Now, what I've noticed over the last couple of months, I see her on multiple shows. I don't know if you guys watch the All-Star Game, okay, or the Celebrity Game All-Star Weekend, but she was the host of the Celebrity Game, right? Now I see her on other shows on ESPN. Why am I bringing this up? Because it looks like all of a sudden this chick just blew up out of nowhere. I told Wayne just last week while he was watching something, I tapped the TV. I was like, she has momentum in her career. It's beautiful, because all of a sudden you see her everywhere on all the ESPN shows, everywhere, just everywhere, commentating on all the shows. So it looks like she just blew up out of nowhere, but we all know that's not the case. That's not how it works. See, on page 21, he discusses something called the plateau of latent potential. All right. The plateau of latent potential, or latent, depending upon how you pronounce it. And he shares with us what it looks like in a graph. This is what it looks like. Okay. When we start a venture, this is what we expect. We think linearly. Okay, that's how we think. We think success is supposed to be linear. We've been trained to think that way. So there's nothing wrong with you. We've been trained to, that's how we think. We work 2 hours, we get paid for those 2 hours. We work 8 hours, we get paid for 8 hours. We work 40 hours, we get paid for 40. You work 60 hours, you get paid for 60. You work 2 weeks, you get paid. You work 2 weeks, you get paid. You work 2 weeks, you get paid. So in our mind, we've been trained for a very long time that things and results happen in a linear fashion, meaning that I do something and then I get something. And it happens at the same intervals every single time. So it looks like this. It's linear. You guys see this? It looks like a straight line. That's what we expect. But that's not what happens with Atomic Habits. With habits, it looks like this. It looks like, oh my God, nothing is happening. I'm sick of eating these salads every single day and I'm not seeing a result. If that was the case, why not just go ahead and grab my jerk chicken that I want with the macaroni and cheese, the creamy kind that's baked? Why not just get that if this is not going to work? Because it looks like nothing's happening. Because this is exactly what happens when you're instituting new habits. See this? it happens, it looks like nothing is happening here because I'm not getting any results that I can visibly see, right? I don't see any visible results, right? And then all of a sudden, remember time. Here's time here. Time is on this horizontal x-axis. Time is still there. Remember what we said about time. Time is going to magnify that margin between success and failure. So over time, if I just keep doing those things, now I start to get what's called exponential growth. Things happen on a curve. They don't happen in a linear fashion. And if you're not careful, you'll get stuck right here in this space, which is called the valley of disappointment, where you don't think nothing is happening, where it looks like you're even losing. Look at this. See, what you think happens is above what's actually happening. So you think you're losing. And this is where a lot of people quit. Yeah, that's powerful. This is where a lot of people quit. You can't quit here. You can't quit in this space. You got to give yourself some more time, right? I'll give you an example, okay? So I do videos. We all know this. I share videos. I share content. And I'm ramping that up, obviously, with my husband having the diagnosis that he had, and us really going back and forth to the hospital and to various doctors. It slowed down some of those things that I was doing, right? But we've been ramping back up. And what's so interesting is it looks like there's no progress. Doesn't look like anything really big is happening until someone says, Demetra, can you speak at this event for me? It just comes out of the blue and I get to speak at an event. And then it doesn't look like anything's happening. I'm just going ahead and doing videos, and I'm not worrying about, I'm serving whoever I can serve. Instead of thinking about, I want to make sure thousands of people see this video. I don't worry about that. I say, whoever sees this video that is for, I want to make sure they understand and I serve them to the best of my ability. If it's 10 people, if it's 20 people, if it's 50 people, if it's 100, I don't worry about the number. And then guess what happens? I get an email that says, hey, you'd be a really great fit for this summit that we're having, and we'd love for you to be a part of this summit. And then all of a sudden, because if you're not careful, you'll quit before you get that email. If you're not careful, you'll quit before you get the invitation to speak, because it doesn't look like anything is happening in that valley of disappointment. But now y'all know, so it's all good, okay? So when you finally break through the plateau of latent potential, people will call it an overnight success. When you finally break through, people will be like, man, you are killing it. Where did you come from? And they don't even understand. Wait. I've been here for a minute. I think about the current network marketing company that my husband and I are part of. And it's so funny because when we got started, I did not realize that we were moving quickly. I didn't know that. Okay. All I knew was do what you did to have some success in your last company. And hey, do what you know how to do. Right. That's what I did. The results, it took us in the last company, 4 years, I think 4. It took us about 3 years to start earning residual. We moved excessively slow, really, really slow. And it was just because we didn't really know what we were doing. Remember, I told you network marketing will either expose or promote you. It exposed me right away. It exposed that I cared more about what people thought. I didn't realize that. It exposed that I needed to work on building even stronger relationships. It exposed all those things in me. It exposed. So what happened was we worked on all those things that exposed that I could not close anybody. You guys, I would do so many presentations and never ask any closing questions. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. It was so hard for me to just ask people, are you ready to get started? That question, I would be sweating profusely. I could never ask the question. And so I just do a presentation and let people walk out over and over and over and over and over. Right. And I got tired of just doing it for free. So it took some years for me to develop the courage necessary to ask closing questions. And so now my closing questions look like, hey, can you see yourself winning with me? Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you absolutely hate the information I share, 10 being you love it, you would get started right now, you are ready. Where do you fall on that scale? Oh, you're a 5. Oh, I get why you're not moving forward. Thank you so much. If anything ever changes, I am here, right? Oh, you're a 7. Oh, cool. Well, what do we need to do to move you to a 10? You're already a 7, so you like this a lot. So what we need to do to move you from a 7 to a 10? I just need to get the money together. Okay, cool. I get it. I feel you. I felt the same way. This is what I found. If I focused on making sure I got that money together and I set an exact date, I pushed towards that date, then I was able to get started at that time. So with that being said, over the course of the next 2 Fridays, because I know people typically get paid on Fridays, what day works best for you for us to get you started? I could never ask those questions before. Are you kidding me? I could not. And so if someone says, well, actually this Friday is going to be perfect. This Friday is good. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you scheduled so we can get you started and I can help move you forward. So this Friday works well. Around this same time is good. Yes. Okay, cool. So 6 p.m. So I'm about to put you on my calendar for 6. I'm putting it in right now. You're going to get an email reminder. You're actually going to get an email that I made this appointment. We're going to hop on Zoom just like this, get you started because I want to get you rocking and rolling. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you some access to my community. I'm not supposed to do that, until you in the system, but I know you're getting started. So let me get you some free access, or let me get you some access ahead of time. Okay. Complimentary access. And so we'll talk a couple times over the next few days, but I know we're talking on Friday at 6 o'clock. We're getting you started. Okay. Sound good? I could never have that conversation 5 years ago. Never. So in my current company, what took us 4 years to do, we did in 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks. And then let me see. And then 6 months later, we were able to hit what's known in this company as Platinum 2000, which didn't exist in my previous company. It was in between a couple of ranks, right? And so we exceeded what we did there in a matter of like 6 months. And so I didn't know that that was moving really quickly. I had no idea. I just thought that was normal. And what a lot of people saw as, dang, she just came out of nowhere. What they didn't see was all the work that went into developing in that previous company. When I was scared to say, are you ready to get started? They didn't see me struggle through closing questions. They didn't see me doubt myself the whole time. They didn't see me work on my belief all those years. I was in that company actively working for 5 years. So they didn't see that. So it looks like breakthrough overnight success that couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. And so he says that the outside world only sees the most dramatic event rather than all that preceded it. Like Laskaya put in the comments, it's a progress, it's progress. There was something else that you put in the comments. Let me look really, really, really quick. They don't see all the stuff you did before. They don't see it, okay? But you know that it's the work you did long ago when it seemed that you weren't making any progress. What looks flat on that bell curve? Okay, that makes the jump for today possible. All right. So what he wants us to know is that winners and losers, he says that way. I'm going to say the successful and the unsuccessful, they have the same goals. Like there's somebody who has the same goal to hit the rank that we hit. And then there are people that made that goal and didn't acquire it. And then there are people that made that goal that did get it. So the goal is not the issue. Okay. If both sets of people who are winning and those who are not winning have the same goal, it's not the goal that makes the difference. In fact, oftentimes with a goal, when you hit it, you'll stop working. And so goals can sometimes, I love that he puts in here, it can be at odds with long-term process because it doesn't encourage you to keep going. Because once you hit the goal, you're like, okay, I got it, good stuff. Y'all know we all women on here. Y'all know when we were younger, when a guy had to go to get you, what I mean? His goal was to scoop you up. He did it and he lost all the momentum, went away. You know what I mean? His goal was to get you. Once that was done, there was nothing else to reach for. Okay. So he says to not focus on the goal so much, but to focus on systems. And this is good. He said, just as atoms are building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are building blocks of remarkable results. Do you want remarkable results? Then you must focus on the systems that you have in place, y'all. So this is the meaning of the phrase atomic habits. It's a regular practice or routine that is not only small, it's and easy to do, but it's also the source of incredible power, a component of a system of compound growth. An example, every day, every week, my husband and I purchase cryptocurrency. We put money aside every day, every week, right? Every time he gets paid, every time I earn revenue, we put some money aside. So I just got a one-on-one client who just paid me the other day. Guess what I'm going to do? Take that part of that, put it aside in crypto. Is it a huge amount of money? Nope, not at all. My one-on-one clients at the time of this recording, they pay me $1,000 a month. 10% of that goes to crypto. 10% gets put to the side right away. So it's $100 out of each one-on-one client, $100. Doesn't seem like a lot, does it? Right? Listen to the definition again. It's a regular practice. It's a routine. A routine is something we do over and over that is not only small and easy to do, this is the part, but it is the source of incredible power, a component of a system of compound growth. So not only do we have my husband who is taking money out of his regular checks and putting it aside because we're building a cash reserve and we're investing, we have me also doing it with revenue. That's what an atomic habit is. All right. Which leads us to the question, how do I actually put these in place? And this, y'all, this was the powerful part for me. This was the powerful part. We have outcome-based habits and we have identity-based habits. And this is so powerful because it is the whole premise behind why becoming a six-figure woman exists. And I hadn't even read this book at the time that this program was developed. So y'all know I love this book. Listen, he says that there are 3 layers of behavior change. This is so powerful. 3 layers of behavior change. And I should have taken a picture of this and I did not. Let's do it real quick and get it up on the screen, y'all. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a pretty one really quick. When I can pull them from YouTube, they look better. So let's see if I can get a good one. Hold on. It is called 3 layers of behavior change. And of course, it is here. Let me screenshot and share this with you really quick. Okay. Hold on, peeps. All right, here we go. 3 layers of behavior change. And now I can share my screen because you can see it. All right. So what we have here is we have outcomes, processes, and identity. Okay. So what you're looking at is the first layer of change is outcomes. That's when we want something specific. So, I want to hit a specific monetary goal. He describes it as this. This level is concerned with changing your results. I want to lose weight. I want to publish a book. I want to win a championship. I want to hit a specific monetary goal. That's outcomes. That's layer number 1. The second layer is processes. You see that right here. Second layer is processes. All right. And so this level is concerned with changing your habits and systems, implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering your desk for a better workflow, developing a meditation practice. Okay. It says most of the habits you build are associated with this level, processes. And then there's the third level, and this is powerful, is identity-based habits. And this one is this level. It says this is the third and deepest level. This level is concerned with changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgment about yourself and others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases you hold are associated with this level. Okay. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. And so outcome-based habits, they work from the outside of these layers of change to the inside. They go from here. Let me see if I can do do I have an arrow here? Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I got what I'm looking for. I do. Okay. Outcome-based habits go from here to here. Okay. Y'all see that? That's outcome-based habits. Oh my goodness. I didn't mean to do that. Outcome-based habits go from the outside of this to the inside. That's what outcome-based habits do. Okay. And so many people start by focusing on the outcome that they want, and then they'll change the process. Okay. So let me see if I can find here where he gives an out. He says outcomes are about, we said that already. Hold on. When it comes to building better habits, when it comes to building habits that last, when it comes to building a system of 1% improvement, the problem is not one level is better or worse than another. That's not the issue. All of the levels of change are useful in their own way. The problem is the direction of change. Okay. So what we're looking at is the direction of change. So many people begin the process of changing their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. That is outcome based. So it's the direction from the outside in. Okay. This leads to outcome-based habits. The alternative is this, you guys. The alternative is in identity-based habits, where we start with the identity and go out. So we change our belief system, and it will in turn cause us to do different processes, which will in turn change our outcomes. With this approach, we start by focusing on who we wish to become. Oh my God, this is so powerful. I'm so excited. So the example that he gives in the book that I thought was one of the best examples, and it caused me to actually change the way I talked about myself. One of the examples he gives in the book, he says, you'll ask two people, you'll ask someone, both of them trying to quit smoking. You'll ask one of them, right? And this is what you were talking about in the beginning, Jamelia. So you'll ask them, would you like a cigarette? And the first person will say, oh, no, thank you. I'm trying to quit. Okay. No, thank you. I'm trying to quit, which is a perfectly normal response. But then the second person says, no, thank you. I'm not a smoker. See, the first person still identifies as someone who is a smoker. The second person does not. I'll give you another example. When I first got back into running, and it was just difficult, man. It was just difficult. Motivated, but still difficult. I had to change who I identified as. I can't identify as someone who wants to run a half marathon in every state, because that's one of my goals, to run a half marathon in every state. So I can't identify as a person who wants to run a half marathon. Guess what? I cannot necessarily identify, the wrong word. I cannot focus on the outcome of running a marathon in every state. I have to change what I believe about myself. See, when I want to run a half marathon in every state, that means that, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I got some health goals. And one of the goals that I think will help me achieve a healthy lifestyle is running, right? So I want to run a few half marathons, 50 to be exact. However, when I change my belief, I stop being the person who wants to run a half marathon, and I change that to, I am a runner. As a runner, I run half marathons, right? Don't be the person who wants to write a book. Be the person who identifies as an author. I'm an author. I'm a writer. He gives you some good ones. He says, the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal is not to learn an instrument. The goal is to become a musician. Y'all see that? How powerful that is? I'm trying to stop sharing for a second. There we go. How powerful that is, right? And so he wants us to understand that true behavior change is an identity change. So think about, for example, becoming a six-figure woman. Remember when we first started, you guys, that it wasn't about doing the things, it was about being the woman. And that's what we still focus on, being the woman, right? So there's a two-step process to changing your identity, right? The process of building habits is actually the process of becoming yourself. That's so powerful to me. It's you becoming. And I love it because the title of Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, it's about you becoming yourself. This is a gradual evolution. We do not change by snapping our fingers and deciding to be someone entirely new. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. We are continually undergoing micro evolutions of the self, and habits are your path to changing your identity. Okay. So the most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. So he gives some examples. Each time you write a page, you're a writer. Each time you practice the violin, you are a musician. Each time you start a workout, you are an athlete. Each time you encourage your employees, you are a leader. And the reverse is true. Each time you don't follow through, you're a quitter. And you keep lying to yourself and you don't trust your own word. You don't trust yourself because you told yourself over and over again what you were going to do for you. And because you don't do it, you don't follow through, you don't even trust yourself anymore. Okay. And so that two-step process is this. Number one, decide the type of person you want to be. Number two, prove it to yourself with small wins. That's what you do. Decide who you want to be and prove it to yourself with small wins. Once you have a handle on the type of person you want to be, you can actually begin taking small steps to reinforce your desired identity. The focus should always be on becoming the type of person, not getting a particular outcome. If you can focus on becoming the person, you will get the outcome. I am praying that was like so eye-opening and transformative. One of my goals is to become a better founder and CEO of my company. And so one of the things that I've decided to do as a result is completely change my work habits and my work hours because of my husband's schedule, because of everything we have going on with the family. And so as much as I love to say, oh, these are the hours that I want to work, this is when I want to do this, I can't do it at those traditional hours. And so I want to become a better entrepreneur. I want to become a better leader. And so each time I make one of those actions, a small win in leadership, I become a better leader. Each time I do a better job in entrepreneurship, a small task, I become a better entrepreneur. All right. So that is it. Do you guys have anything that you want to share before we hop off of here? Our next meetup, you guys, we're going to go over chapters 3 and 4. And they are, let's see what those two chapters are. I'm looking forward to it because this book is so good. Okay, chapter 3, how to build better habits and 4 simple steps. And then chapter 4, the man who didn't look right. And our book has, 20 chapters. So we'll be going over this one for a little bit. Any feedback from you guys for today? Anything you want to share? Or you guys good?
I just want to say that tonight was awesome, and this book is really good. It's better than I thought it was going to be. Like, you surprised me with these books because I get them and I'm like, I'm not going to read this. But then when I start reading, I'm like, oh wow, this is good, and I can relate a lot. So thank you again, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm even starting to apply it. That's the good thing. I noticed my own growth. So it was one thing you said, and it was from the book. Man, I cannot remember. I think it was something relating to other people.
Okay.
But I know that was my thing. I always worried about what somebody else said or how somebody else felt or what somebody else thought. But lately I noticed for me, it's like, I know as long as I know I'm growing, I know I'm changing and maturing. So what somebody else think, it don't matter anymore as much. I'll say that, let me be honest, because it's still in there sometimes.
It's
But
progress. It's progress.
yeah, and that's what I was going to say. So there's progress and I can see it. So this is good.
Thank you for sharing that. I love it. I love it. Jamelia sent you a heart. She said, I love it too.
Thank you.
Did you want to share anything too as well, my love, or you're good?
It was amazing. I really like I said, the first just opening the book and reading the introduction, the first two chapters has been like, and I'm like, okay, I think I need to go back and highlight and just the shift of not just looking at the outcome. And there are so many things that I'm like, oh, I want to accomplish. And so it's like perfect timing. Like there are no coincidences. So I'm grateful. And yeah, I'm really grateful because
That's awesome.
I was beating myself up about like not finishing a book or not doing something. And I'm just like, you know what? Maybe do it. And I'm like, why is it that you set a goal and you don't follow through? And then this book, because like, you know, you hit the goal or you don't hit the goal, but you didn't change, what you needed to at its core. And the example that you gave about becoming a runner or the person not being a smoker anymore. And so I'm a reader.
Yeah.
And so I'm a reader. I'm gonna read books and get what I need to from the. It's all, yeah, amazing. Thank you. I'm looking forward to reading the next few chapters and talking about it in our next meeting. So thank you.
You guys are amazing. That is so good. That makes my heart smile. This was therapeutic for me. I need you guys to understand that these things are therapy, like therapeutic. Like these sessions give me life. So thank you for allowing me to operate in my gifts. I'm so grateful. Y'all don't even know. I'm really grateful because I need this, especially in this season. So y'all go kill it. And then oh, you are so welcome. And then I will see you guys soon. I'm gonna go ahead and stop our recording.